This is Biology with Mrs. Lewis, and we are currently on Lesson 3.3. This page is relevant for your notes. So the title would be Cycles in the Biosphere. Natural resources cycle matter and nutrients through the biosphere. Matter is anything that takes up space and has mass. A nutrient is a chemical substance that an organism needs to obtain from its environment in order to survive. The cycling of nutrients through the biosphere involves both living organisms and physical processes. The exchange of matter through the biosphere is called Biogeochemical Cycle. You'll want to note that the water cycle is actually going to be on, parts of it will be on your EOC as well as your final exam. So I would definitely take the time to draw this out. You don't have to do trees and all this elaborate, but you do need at least to know how transpiration comes from plants, precipitation comes down to the ground, evaporation comes up through both ocean and fresh water, and percolation means once the water hits, say from precipitation, the ground, it can come back, and part of it comes back up into the atmosphere through evaporation, and part of it will actually go down and be saved into huge wells known as aquifers. So the water cycle. Water evaporates from bodies of water, soil, and organisms. Water returns from the atmosphere in the form of precipitation. All living organisms rely on fresh water, which constitutes only about 3% of the water on Earth. Please don't take the time to use this diagram. I have one that I think is less cluttered and will make more sense. So don't do this one. Just leave room for a box about this size in your notes so that when we get back to class tomorrow, I can give that to you quickly. So the carbon cycle and oxygen cycles actually work together. So carbon and oxygen make up molecules that are essential for life. Carbon and oxygen recycle relatively quickly through living organisms like you and me. And carbon and oxygen enter a long-term cycle when dead material is buried. The third cycle we need to discuss and you need to put in your notes is the nitrogen cycle. The capture and conversion of nitrogen into a form that is usable by plants is called nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen is fixed by bacteria or by electrical storms. Nitrogen returns to the atmosphere through denitrification, where bacteria convert fixed nitrogen back into nitrogen gas. The last cycle we'll be discussing for this chapter, and this will be also your last section for the chapter, is the phosphorus cycle. Please make sure you add this to your notes. The phosphorus is essential for growth and development of organisms. Phosphorus cycles quickly as phosphates through sediments, plants, and consumers. Long-term phosphorus is weathered or eroded from rocks and added to the cycle.